So you're from Kentucky?
Yep, I am from Kentucky. Give us here a few seconds to let it get StreamYard. StreamYard sometimes have a little bit of a lag, and it takes a second for it to show up on the other end. So I'm going to give it just a second.
So I went and subscribed to, I believe it was your YouTube channel. What is the name of yours? So I know I subscribed to the right one.
Catfish Headhunters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All righty. Looks like we are live. People can see us. I just got the notification that we were live.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. I was going to do a little trout fishing today live, but as soon as I started to I had the car loaded up, I had the rods and stuff in, and I was going to go fish about 2-3 hours, and it started raining. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to stay home. But tonight for our special guest, we got Krazy Catfishing.
Hey, everyone. How y'all doing?
I'm going to see who's all in the house tonight. We've got Chad. We've got J-Dog. We've got One Ton Fishing Club. I'm not sure which one it is because I think 3 of them use the same account. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. Great guys. It's usually Art. Art's usually the one that I see on it. We got LG Bass. We got Quentin Nails. I think that's a new name. I don't think I've ever seen that one. Yeah, Art. We got Victoria, which is it's not Victoria on. I know his name. What am I doing? I talk to him on Facebook all the time. But oh Lord, I'm bad with names. Like I can tell you I know who you are by your face. I can tell you who you are by how your vocal sounds coming from a distance. But like this media stuff, I don't remember.
Yeah,
we got Mo Creek Fishing. We've got Palmetto Cats.
Hey, Palmetto, I know you.
Everybody know Palmetto.
Yeah.
I just got a message to this. Are y'all hearing me okay? Can y'all see everything real good? I got a message saying it was lagging. So I want to make sure everything's okay. Because the live streams, when you go live, it's a hit and miss sometimes. Got Cody in here, catfishing Kentucky. Kentucky catfishing, not catfishing Kentucky. My bad. Looks like we got 18 people in here tonight. Cool. All righty. Let's get this started tonight. Everybody, this is Krazy Catfishing. If anybody's not subscribed to him, his channel link is in the description below the video. I've been watching him for a while. I really like how he fishes. He fishes similar to what I do. You know, he's a bait fisherman. He also likes kayak fishing. I noticed your last video, you went out in it. I don't know how many you caught. You know, and I've been looking at kayaks. I've got a little 2-man boat. I've been looking into some kayaks. Yeah. So, what got you started to want to do your channel?
Well, there's a couple of things that started me out. One, I just wanted to just document my catches. You know, the fisherman gets this rap of, telling these big lies. You come home with no fish, and hey, I caught this big fish, but it broke off right at the bank or whatever. I just wanted to prove that, hey, I did catch or hook this fish, and a lot of it also has to do with I'm not real good at teaching people how to fish. I assume people already know how to fish, which I shouldn't do, because there's a lot out there. And kind of to draw the younger crowd in. But at the same time, what got me into it was to prove that you don't have to have the most expensive gear to go out and catch these fish. I mean, I can take a $19 rod from Walmart and go out and catch a fish that you can with a $120 rod. So, I mean, that's pretty much what it's based around, it's just, I'm a poor country boy, that loves to fish, and I want to show people that, hey, you can go out and do it too.
Exactly. That's what got me wanting to do a YouTube channel. I was pushed by a couple of my friends, which they won't even get involved with YouTube. Like I've asked, I'm like, hey, won't you get on here live? No, I can't do it. I'm not getting on camera. And I wanted to. My new fishing rods for next season is going to blow everybody's minds, and it's going to really set the bar for these rods because I know what they can do, and they're cheap. And fishing doesn't always have to cost you an arm and leg. Anything you do in life is not cheap. I mean, living in general is not cheap anymore. I mean, you gotta count one of those things where you see which hobby you like best or fits your in your nature. And fishing is one of those things where it's just always clicked with me. Like ever since I was a kid, I always knew I liked fishing and I'd love it. And then after I got to really getting older and going out on my own, learning more, and it's the greatest thing in the world to me.
Yeah, I've been fishing ever since I was old enough I can remember, and I love going out there and fishing, and it's in my blood.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's something new. I mean, it's new to me to set up a camera and talk into a camera. It's not for everybody. And I'm still getting used to it.
Like before I started getting into it, I went through a phase. Everybody goes through a phase in life with either depression or anxiety or something. Everybody's fighting their own battle, some form, some way. Everyone is fighting their own battle, no matter what it is.
Sir.
My battle was anxiety. Like there for the longest time, I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to be out in public. And YouTube has really helped me beat my anxiety. Like they gave me some medication to get on for my anxiety to help lower I get real worked up. I'd have heart palpitations and stuff. And ever since I started doing YouTube and stuff like that, it's like helped. Like I ain't
brought you level down a little bit.
Yeah. Like it opened me up to realize, hey, it's not that bad. People are not as cruel as, the world seems. There's nice people everywhere. I've met some great people. I still have plenty of trips planned to meet great people just because of fishing in general and YouTube. Somebody already has a question for you. Like I said before we went live, if it's something too personal, you don't want people to know, just you don't have to reply. Somebody asked, where are you located? Where do you live at? Just state in general or general area, not exact address and stuff. I wouldn't give that out.
No. Yeah, there's some crazy people out there. I don't want to give my address out, but
nope.
I don't mind telling you. I live in Tennessee, southeast Tennessee. I'm sorry if my phone's going off. I don't know how to shut that off, but southeast Tennessee. I live in a county called Polk County. I'm kind of stuck in between Chattanooga and Knoxville. But our county borders to North Carolina and North Carolina and Georgia line, so I'm right in the foothills of the Appalachian.
So, what bodies of water do you normally fish in your area?
The biggest body of water that I love to fish the most is the Tennessee River Reservoir, Chickamauga Lake. It's mostly known for bass fishing. The big bass tournament fishermen usually fish there, but it holds some really good catfish. I mean, really big blues and flatheads. But I also fish, local rivers around here, which One of my local rivers that I'm closest to is the Ocoee River, which is known for the '96 Whitewater Olympics that they held back then. And but yeah, that and the Hiwassee River, which the Ocoee runs into the Hiwassee, and then the Hiwassee runs on down into the Tennessee River. And I usually fish right there at the mouth where the Hiwassee runs into the Tennessee, trying to intersect those fish coming in and out, going up different rivers.
I've got a question here from Palmetto Cats. Does he know where Ducktown or Copper Basin is?
Yeah, that's just right up the road, about 10 minutes from here. That's where the Ocoee comes out of the mountains. So yeah, that's my hometown. That's my home area.
So, considering your name, Krazy Catfishing, I've been watching for a while. I know you like catfishing, but you do target other species too as well sometimes.
Yes, I do.
So why did you start targeting catfish more in your area?
Well, that's a long story, but to make it short, I started out as a bass fisherman because my dad's oldest brother was a professional bass tournament fisherman back in the '80s and everything. And for a long time, I thought if you wasn't fishing for bass and catching bass, you wasn't catching nothing. Everything else was just whatever. But I caught my first catfish and I caught the fever, but they're just they're a unique species to catch. They get huge. That's one big thing.
Yeah, that's a huge plus for us catfish when they get big.
Yeah, and they put up one hell of a fight.
They do.
It's just, I don't know. I just love it.
You just feel more at home catfishing than you do bass fishing.
Yeah, you don't have to sit there and cast a lure 500,000 times to catch one fish.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I used to bass fish a lot, but that was because that's what my dad was raised up to do, was bass fishing, bluegill and crappie. We didn't get into catfishing until like 2000 and I know he went catfishing when he was younger. He told me he did, but we strictly stayed. The reason why we bass fished so much, we had all these farm ponds. My father worked for many farmers around my area, and there wasn't a pond he wasn't allowed to fish in. So we did lots and lots of pond fishing, and I really have no idea how big my bass is because we didn't carry a scale around with us. But I see bass that I've caught when I was younger, bass fishing with my dad, and he's caught some that I know that are probably 7 pounds because this one lake, the gentleman we used to fish in, he fed his bass. He had hybrid bullnose. I think they bullnose or copper nose, one of the two. I'm not sure.
Bluegill.
Bluegill. And man, them suckers, man. They was just ridiculous. Oh my God. And when you're a kid fishing, you don't think of that stuff. Now that you're an adult, you're like, oh man, I really kicked myself in the butt for not knowing what those fish weighed back then. But it's okay. It's no biggie. But yeah, when I got into catfishing, it just made more sense to me, and I could relax more, to sit back and catfish. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you do have to chase those catfish. You have to chase them sometimes, but you're not constantly like bass fishing. You don't have to worry about buying a $6 or $7 lure. Don't get me wrong. Catfish gear is not cheap. Depends on what you're using.
It's not. So basically, when you're fishing a really hard structure and you lose a lot of terminal tackle, that adds up after a while.
It does. I would really like to get into using demon dragons because I know they work. They may not work as good as some people think they do, but I see a lot of people catch a fish. So if people are catching fish on, they work. They have to do something to pull the fish in a little bit, But they're so expensive, and I don't lose a whole lot of gear, but I'm gonna be doing some boat fishing for catfish beginning of the year, and I already know the river I'm gonna be fishing in. It's gonna be Snack City, so I better hope to God I got 10 pounds of lead on me at all times, and a bucket full of circle hooks or something, because I know I'm gonna lose a lot of gear. Go ahead.
Speaking of the demon dragons, they are expensive. I found that the regular peg floats, like a 3-inch peg float, use that and get it's a rattle. I forget the name of it, but
I know
there's
what
a
you're
rattle
talking
on
about.
there, and that works I think just as good, because the peg float actually will float your bait better than that demon dragon will, to keep it up off the structure.
I bet you could. You know how you can buy those little rattles, little clear rattles in the fishing set. You can add to stuff like crawfish.
Right.
Man, I bet you can take it, stick it down that peg float, and there's your demon dragon.
Yeah, pretty much.
See? Yeah. Palmetto Cats wanted me to let you know that tell him my wife's family lives in, I can't say that. I'm not even going to try. Hiawassee Dam.
Hiawassee Dam in Georgia.
Hiawassee Dam. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Georgia.
Wife's family lives there.
I didn't realize he lived that close to me. I thought he was up north somewhere.
Let's see. Make sure I'm not missing anything. That's one of my. If you ever decide to go live, and if you need help to go live, I'll help you on here. It's real easy through StreamYard. I've noticed that it's really hard to stay focused talking to somebody and reading chat and trying not to miss questions. That's probably one of my biggest problems, is missing a question. But it's so hard, and that's only 20 to 30 people. I can only imagine. Like, do you watch Elston?
Who?
Chunky Cat's fishing.
Chunky, yeah, I'll every once in a while, yeah.
Like
when I get the chance.
Like I've seen where he's had 200 to 300 people in there. Do you imagine trying to keep up with comments like that?
No, that'd be crazy.
And poor Chunky, he's dyslexia, and he reads backwards. And man, I was like, there's no way. Go ahead.
I watch a lot of Patriot Catfishers of America. He has a live talk show on Wednesday nights, and he gets about 50 to 70 people in there, and just being a viewer trying to read the comments, I'm like, holy crap. But you got to have moderators in there too to help with that stuff. But I've got a ways to go before I got to worry about going live. I'm only at like 825, so
all right.
One of these days.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm
okay. Our next message comes from Terry. He's on his wife's account. His name's Terry. What is your favorite flathead bait?
Well, the only flatheads I've ever caught have come off of cut bluegill.
Bluegill heads is what I've caught mine on.
Let's see, I've caught 5, I think, in the last year. And my biggest flathead was 17 pounds.
What's your since you're going ahead about your flag, what's your PB blue?
27 pound. He's 40 inches long. He was actually a trophy fish for Tennessee. Any blue or flathead catfish over 34 inches is considered a trophy. Channel cat, anything over 28 inches is a trophy.
That's cool. Do you know what your PB channel cat is?
Yeah, I just caught it in my last video on my channel last week. Was 11 pound.
Yep, 11 pounds. Yeah, I watched it.
That's big for around here.
Yeah.
Anymore. I used to a 20, 30, 40 pound channel wasn't unheard of, but now the average size is between 4 and 6 pounds for a channel.
Yeah. Now I know they're wanting to have a meet and greet at Mendota Lake, and it holds it's from what I have gathered from forums and other websites and YouTube, is it's a killer lake for a big channel catch. Like, it's nothing to go up there and catch a 20 or 30-pound channel cat. A channel cat.
Yeah.
And my PB channel cat come out of the Kentucky River. It was 23 pounds. I could have sworn it was a blue when I first started. When I said I got me a big old nice blue, and after I got it in, that top lip was over top of the bottom lip. I was like, that's not a blue. He still had his specs. And he didn't have that. He didn't have the tail and the dorsal fins like a blue. So I was like, "Are you sure that's not a blue?" We kept looking at it because as some of the channel cats get bigger, you can't really tell if it's a channel or a blue. Depending on what water they come from. You have to look at their lips, you have to look at their head, and this thing had a big old massive fat head. You know how it was a male. It had a big old fat head, big lumps right here. You know how big male channel cats get. Yeah. And I caught it, and I was like, man, I cannot believe it. I didn't eat him. There was no way I was going to eat that fish. I let him go. I have that picture of that fish on a LG flip phone. This was middle 2000s when I caught this fish, and it was on a flip phone. And if I can find that phone, I'll love to get it off there. Don't know how clear it's going to be or pretty, but the flip phone, but it's on there.
Well, the only way that I know once they get that big to really tell the difference between a channel and a blue is a channel, their anal fin will be rounded, whereas a blue will come down and it'll go straight and then come back up.
Yep.
So if you catch one and its anal fin is rounded, that's a channel cat. If it's flat across, that's a blue.
Yep. See, that's when I was just started getting into. See, this is when how everybody starts out catfishing some form or some way, that your first thing you're going to use for catfish is chicken liver because it's so available. So that's what I primarily used starting out catfishing was chicken liver.
Me too. I was a diehard chicken liver fan. I've actually sat and we bring in channel catfish like every 15 minutes next to people using shad and skipjack and never get a bite. And they look at me like, what are you using? I'm like, chicken liver. And they're like, oh, no. Like,
yep.
A lot of people targeting bigger liver. But now that I'm targeting bigger catfish, I found cut bait is the way to go.
Yeah, cut bait is awesome. I'm not going to lie there. Not going to deny that. I know, depending on time of the year, there's times that chicken liver will do better than cut bait. But you got to think about another perspective way also is you don't know what fish are in that area. You don't know if there's monsters in there. So, it's hard to judge, know what to throw. I mean, cut bait is always best. But 9 times out of 10, when you're casting it, there may not be a big fish in there. So you might as well just throw liver and go after the smaller ones,
Right. And there might not be no fish in there at all.
Exactly. It's a hit and miss. Chicken liver was one of my favorite baits. I still like it. Don't get me wrong. Now, I have caught channel cats on liver. I caught a flathead on liver. I've caught carp. My first PB blue was 28.3 pounds, my very first blue ever, and it came in January on chicken liver. It was mind blowing. I was like, I ain't gonna catch it. It was my birthday, January 8th. It was snowing, had ice on my eyelids. It was cold. I'm like, man, I'm about to leave. And he pecked. He didn't hit it hard or run. He pecked on it like a bluegill, just light little peck. And then he started swimming off, and my rod started going down just real slow. And he didn't fight very hard. I guess where the water was so cool, maybe. Like all he did was row a few times, and that was it. That's why I didn't take it very big until I got him up to the bank.
That's like my PB blue. I was fishing the Tennessee River, and it was during flood stage. We'd had so much rain. I tried the main river, and it was just too much. I couldn't even catch a bluegill, nothing. And I went to this back creek, and I was using a shellcracker or red ear sunfish for bait. And he hit hard, but when I started fighting him, I thought I was reeling in a log, because except for a few head shakes, I thought it was just dead weight. I was reeling him in until he got to the top of the water next to the dock, and that's when he started fighting. I was like, man, do I have a fish, or is this log fighting me back, or what is this? Because, but yeah, I figured a big fish like that would just give you a fight of your life, and he didn't.
Yeah. See, I went on a recent trip to the Kaskaskia River up in Avid Fisherman's area. I caught a 39-pound blue, and he fought pretty good. Don't get me wrong, he fought. But I think I've caught channel cats in the teens that fought harder than that 40-pound blue. I'm not going to lie. It was so weird. Like, he fought. Don't get me wrong. He pulled some spool, but he didn't stay running like a channel cat did or like a flathead would. Right. The water temps, I want to say the water temps were probably roughly about 64 to 70 degrees that day. And I know Mark was there. Mark, I don't know if he's in here or not, Catfish and Crappie. He told us the water temps. I can't remember what they was. But yeah, he didn't really fight real hard. But I've had channel cats that fought twice as hard, because I caught him on an 8-foot medium heavy action rod. It had 20-pound line on a 6500 Abu Garcia C3. And he pulled some line. Don't get me wrong, he pulled some line and had that rod bent pretty good. But all it felt like I was doing was rowing a log through the water. That's all it felt like. I felt him row a few times. And once he broke water, it was done. It was over. He didn't fight.
Yeah. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think channel cat, pound for pound, fight harder than any other of the catfish.
I do too.
They will fight until you turn them back loose or you take them home. I mean, they don't stop fighting.
Nope.
A flathead, he gives you a good fight. It's hard to pull him up because he wants to stay down. You get a little bit of line, he'll pull line out. A blue, they'll fight for a little while, but then they give up after a few minutes usually, and they come to the top and they just sit there and roll on top of the water, and you just have to pull their weight in.
Yep.
And I've seen a lot of YouTubers really get mad and put down catching a channel catfish. I'm like, you're a catfisherman. You're catching a catfish.
Exactly.
Be glad you're catching something,
Now, don't get me wrong. Catching those big fish are fun. Don't get me wrong. I love catching big fish. It's fun. But I have just as much fun catching 100 small fish as I do 1 or 2 big fish. I'm not going to lie.
Exactly. I get just excited over being in a little bitty creek, catching a little creek chub, maybe 4 or 5 inches long, as I do catching a big fish. Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I will never hate on a fisherman for just being a trophy catfisherman, but I enjoy all fishing. There's times I'd rather just go bluegill fishing. I have more fun sometimes catching my bait from a creek than actually going catfishing.
Right. A lot of times I catch my bait at the same spot that I'm catfishing at.
Yeah.
And most of the time when I'm once I got my rod set out for the catfish, I got another rod sitting there fishing for a bass or bluegill, anything that'll bite, because the fishing's in my blood. That's what I love, is fishing.
It's like the other night, I went to the Ohio River. I didn't catch not one freaking catfish, but my bluegill pole saved my butt. I caught a couple white suckers. I have never caught a white sucker before. I thought it was a shiner. Catfishing, Kentucky Catman Jim was on there. He said, Norm, he said, that's a white sucker. I said, Jim, I've never caught one before. I said, it looks like a shiner, but it had the mouth underneath instead of like on a shiner, So I was like, oh, okay. And if it wasn't for me having that little bluegill pole out there, I would have got skunked. And on top of it, I caught a new species just because I had an extra pole out for another species.
would that be the same thing as a drum?
No, no.
It sounded like a drum. You got
It,
like the sucker mouth on the bottom.
yep, yep. I looked it up, and they don't get real big. The white suckers don't. See,
Huh.
there for the longest time, I was confused. I thought a drum was a perch. There for the longest time, I thought a perch was a drum. I had it mixed up. Like every time I caught a drum when I was younger, like look, I got me a freaking big old perch, and I didn't know it wasn't a perch because that's what they called them down here. They called them perch. And then until I got older, started learning different species. I'm like, man, I feel stupid. I'm like, I've been calling them things perch my whole life.
Well, this was just like the sunfish or whatever down here. For the longest time until I got older and realized the difference was every little panfish I caught was a brim.
Yeah,
Bluegill, shellcracker, it didn't matter. It was a brim. I didn't
same
know
here.
no difference.
Yeah, same
But
here. If it looked like a bluegill, it was a brim. That's what we called it.
yeah,
And now that I've gotten older and started learning all these different species, you got pumpkin seeds, you got shell crackers, you got red ears, you've got long ear green sunfish, you got strictly
yellow
some people.
bellies, red bellies,
I mean, it just
long,
goes on.
yeah.
Now, I will say this from my flatheads, I've caught more flatheads on long ear green sunfish, the little bluegill that have really big mouths. You know what I'm talking about.
Warmouth.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've caught also the pumpkin seeds. They call them pumpkin seeds. They're a really bright, vivid bluegill. I still call them I still call them a bluegill. I know they're not called a bluegill by their species, but I still call them a bluegill. I can't help it. They're a small
I
fish.
got one.
They don't have whiskers. I'm gonna call it a bluegill.
I've got one in an aquarium right now that I caught when he was only about that big, and he's a good sized flathead bait now, but he's more he's more of a pet. I keep telling him I'm going to use him for bait, but I can't bring myself to do it.
Oh Lordy, that poor fish. I'm gonna use you for bait one day. Nah, I can't do it. So, what kind of rods do you use? I know you use a different variety of rods and reels. So, what kind of setups do you use for your catfishing?
Well, most of mine comprise of mostly Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
I really love the ugly stick. I've only got one ugly stick catfish series pole combo. I love that. Shakespeare and Zepco are my main ones that I use. I normally use the Carolina rig,
Yep.
and I run Berkeley Big Game 30-pound mono, and a team catfish circle hook 8/0, either a regular 8/0 circle hook or the octopus. I really like the octopus because it gives it more of that trigger action.
It does. It does.
To help hook them. I use the no knot snell on the circle hooks, and everything else I normally use either I done forgot the name. Polymer knot, or the knot that I've used most of my life was the I always heard it called the Fisherman knot, but it's the clinch knot, or the improved clinch knot.
That's what I like using, is the clinch and improved clinch knot.
Yeah, because the harder they pull, the tighter that knot gets.
Yeah. Plus, you got to think too, the clinch knot and improved clinch knot. If it's nighttime, you can usually sit there and just fiddle with it, feel it.
Exactly.
You're ready to go. You're back up. You're going.
And being legally blind, that helps a whole lot too. So.
Yep. Yep. See where you're legally blind, it'd be rough. It'd be rough.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It really
I love.
is.
I've always used a clinch knot, and then when I start learning more about fishing, I'm like, an improved clinch knot. What do you mean improved? What do you mean? And it's just that one extra step is all it is. And I'm like, oh my God, it's mind blowing.
But that was the way I was taught to tie the knot, was do that extra step through that top loop and cinch it down.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I was told it was called the fisherman's knot. That was the first knot I ever learned to tie.
My first knot was simply just tie your line, literally just make a knot, just make multiple little knots together and just hope for the best. I don't really see how I caught half the fish I did like that. I really don't.
My uncles wouldn't allow that.
I mean, literally, that was how I tied my hooks and how I managed to get all these fish in over these years without, losing them from that kind of knot. It's mind blowing. Maybe it's because I had 30 freaking knots in it. Maybe I don't know. But,
I've only lost one fish from not tying my knots right, and that was the biggest rainbow trout that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, no.
Person. And I was actually catfishing. We went up to my local on the Hiwassee River. There's a powerhouse. We went up there one morning. I was a teenager, and they was releasing water. We sat there for about an hour or two, never caught nothing. And I got tired of it, so I went ahead and tied me on a treble hook, and I had some of that catfish bait that you can buy from Walmart in the bag. I thought, well, they're going to turn this water off eventually, and as soon as they do, I'm going to cast out there, and I'm going to catch me a catfish in this deep hole. Well, as soon as I got it tied up, about 10 minutes later, sure enough, they turned the water off. I ran over there and throwed it right out in the middle. It didn't even have time to hit the bottom. I just set my rod down. My buddy's like, you better get your rod. I looked over. That thing was about to go over the wall. I grabbed it, and I fought that thing for, it seemed like an eternity. And I got him up over next to the rocks where I could get down to him. I reached down, tried to pick him up. Trout's really, really slimy and slippery. And he gave one good jerk, and he was gone. And you could tell where my knot came undone. I was like, never again. I'll double check my knots every time. So, yeah. The only other time I've ever had any failure in my line or any tackle is them rubbing it up against something really sharp and just cutting the line.
Now, I used to buy a set of hooks. I don't remember the brand name. I lost a few fish because the little eye on the hook had too big of a crack in between it.
Yeah.
And I've had my line slip through those on fish before. I don't think none of them was real big fish, but it wasn't about 2 or 3 trips after. I don't remember the brand. I want to say it was Eagle Claw, but I still use Eagle Claw sea circle hooks, and they've improved those. I want to say it might have been the first generation of the sea circle hooks that they did it on. To be honest, I don't think it was circle hooks that I was using. I think it was normal J hooks, and my line would slip right between it every time. I'm like, well, these are going in the trash when I get home.
I didn't start using circle hooks until about 2 years ago when I started my channel up. I always used treble hooks or just regular bass J hooks,
Yeah, now don't get me wrong. You can still catch catfish on bass hooks and stuff. Don't get me wrong. They're not as tough as the catfish hooks. You already know that. But I mean, in a pinch, and if you're out of hooks or the store don't have any, just buy some hooks and use them. They'll still work.
Yeah, they will. As long as they're sharp.
Yeah, as long as they're sharp.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say.
I know you're nervous now because this is your first time ever being on a live stream.
Right.
There's nothing worse than getting on here and the name of certain stuff that you use or gear you use, and you forget what it's called.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I still do it. I still get tongue tied, twisted. I still get nervous on here sometimes too. And there's certain stuff that I'll be like, I'm gonna say this tonight. I'm gonna go over this tonight. And then when I try to get on here, and next thing I know, hey, have a good night, guys. I'm like, did I really forget to say that? Or
It's like ever since you asked me, I've been going through my head. It's like, well, if they ask this, this is what I'm gonna say, and this is what I'm gonna say for this. And then I was like, well, I don't know what they're gonna ask me, so I don't know how to answer these questions. So it's all good.
Yeah,
I appreciate you having me on here, man.
Yeah, I've been watching you for a while, and I'm like, I said I've never seen him live. I was like, I'm gonna ask him, maybe he'll be interested, and then I asked you, I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna have him on. It's so cool. So yeah, and I appreciate you having you on here. Does anybody else have any questions for him? Well, I've got a question here from Avid. Pull it up. Night Katie, wrong one. Sorry, that chat moved on me. What happened to Matthew Baker, Norm? I don't know, Avid. I asked him Wednesday or Thursday. My phone's dead. I could pull it up. My phone's completely dead. I was making people moderators, and when I added the last moderator, my phone went dead. I asked him if he was going to be on with me this weekend, and that was Wednesday or Thursday, and I never got a reply back. So I sent him post today that he was going deer hunting, which I don't blame him. If I was into deer hunting, I'd be out there hunting too. So I know he's been busy with work and stuff, and he's just been busy. But he never got back with me. He let me know if he was coming on or not. So I just assumed he wasn't coming on. So it's okay. Hopefully he'll come back. Hopefully everything's going well with him. I built this show off of mine and his ideal to do it, and I know he's having problems trying to. It's hard. It's hard to schedule something every week. Like every Saturday night, I'm live every Saturday night. Now I have missed some. I even missed being a guest on Pale Metal Cats. It was just it was my turn to be a guest, and I missed it. Me and the wife was wanting a bed, so we went to go buy a bed. And when we get there, the whole bed wouldn't fit in the truck, and we didn't have I thought I had my tow down straps, and I didn't, and I didn't feel safe towing that much stuff over the top of the bed, and it's sliding out. So on the way, I was like, okay, I got a 30-minute drive home and a 30-minute back. I got to make 2 trips within an hour and 20 minutes, and it started raining on the way back, and it was over. And I told him, I said, I'm sorry, I ain't gonna make it. I'm sorry. So it's hard. It really is. Like even when I want to make a video just with my GoPro, when you got kids, family, and working too, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie.
It's real hard.
No,
it's like me being legally blind, I can't just jump in a vehicle and run down to the lake or the river and go fishing. I've got to wait on my wife to get home to take me, and she works 12, 16 hours a day sometimes.
That's like my wife. She's a manager over the kitchen, and when someone calls in or someone is sick, she has to cover their shift. That's part of being a boss. You know how that works. And that's really hard, and we don't have a very big family to watch my kid because everybody has health issues or they're older, and my kids are wild. I'm not gonna lie. They're wild, son. They are crazy. They are full of energy. I'd love to have their energy for one day.
Me too. I only got one, and she's 6 years, just turned 6 years old this year, and oh my goodness. I just turned 44, and I'm like, wow, I wished I had that energy, to keep up with you, but Daddy's getting old. They can't do the things they used to do. But you were saying you've been wanting to try kayak fishing. I tell you what, there's nothing like being on that kayak, and all of a sudden you get a hit from that catfish boat, and you not only hear it, but you feel it. That kayak will jerk with you. or
That's
all of a sudden you'll be going in a different direction. You're like, what in the world? And you look over and your pole's buried in the water. And then when you pull it up, get it out of that rod holder, and you start fighting him, man, you're going to go pretty much where that fish wants you to go until you get him up top of the water.
Even on my little 2-man boat that I've got, the one before this one, I would just catch a decent sized little channel cat and it would, move my little boat. So I can only imagine a kayak, the thrill of that. And, you get the full action being in that kayak. You get the full benefit of that fight of the fish. You really get to know, you really get to feel the fight of the fish. You get to feel the power of him. And you're like, whoa, I am 200 pounds, and this little 10-pound channel cat is trying to drag me. What is up with that?
Well, I'm only 140 pounds soaking wet, so you can imagine how I feel. It's adrenaline rush. It is. It's adrenaline rush.
Get you a big old flathead and tie the front of about 50 pounds. You got yourself a trolling motor.
My first flathead was caught off of my kayak, and he was 15 pounds. And I didn't think I was ever going to get him up. I'd get him up about 5 foot, and he'd take 10 foot. I'd get him up 10 foot, and he'd take 15. My pole was constantly bent down in the water. I was like, come on.
Yeah, I feel like in a kayak, you wouldn't be missing, like, you get the full action, like the whole 9 yards, like the feel of the takedown, because the kayak moves any way you move, just a slight movement, it moves.
Right. That's what I was saying. When you get a hit on a pole, you don't only hear it. I mean, you hear a thud usually, and then your kayak will shift, or it'll completely start turning on you sometimes, and you're like, holy crap, what's going on? I was going this way 1 second ago. Now I'm going in a circle. But the drawback of being on a kayak is you're limited on space. And if you got multiple rods out, you're probably going to get tangled up in your other lines. So that would be my only drawback to kayak fishing for catfish. Because, I'm on a 10-foot kayak, and with the 2 poles out the back, they're only 14 feet apart. And then if I've got one out the front, that's another 14 foot plus the distance between the rods. And if you're in 20 to 40 feet of water, that fish, he don't have to move very much, and he's going to tangle up in the other lines. Yeah.
So when you're kayak fishing, you're usually just using 2 rods.
Usually 3.
3, yeah. What kind of rod holders are you using? I never bothered to ask what rod holders you're using in yours.
Well, my kayak was a plain kayak. When I say plain, it didn't have no rod holders, no nothing.
Okay.
And so I added it ain't a Scotty rod holder, but it's like a Scotty rod holder. It's from Walmart. I put it on the front, which my kayak is a Lifetime Tahoma, which is the plain version of the Lifetime Tamarack version, which is the fishing version. And it comes with that rod holder front. And when I first started out, I had PVC pipe zip tied and bungee cord to my crate that was anchored down to the kayak in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But I've recently put in the flush mount rod holders in the back and faced them out, and then made a PVC pipe rod holder that fit down in there, so that when a big catfish hits, it takes all the torque, all the torque, and distributes it all the way across the kayak, so it don't rip the rod holder out of my kayak.
Yeah.
And I've got video on my channel showing how I did it and why I did it. I call it the Superman rod holder because when it's out of the kayak, it's actually shaped in the shape of the symbol of Superman. And I'm still waiting to catch a big one off of it to see if it actually holds up to its name.
Yeah, I've been looking at a few of them, but because I'm a big boy, 275 pounds, I got to pay a little extra dough for having more dough. So,
You're right. Well,
the big boy kayaks, they're a little bit higher. I seen one of
oh,
them that
yeah.
was, I was
Well,
trying to shoot my chair up, but it's in freaking carpet.
my 10-foot kayak, it's rated at 275 pounds itself, and it's a very stable kayak. I mean, I can actually stand in it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Especially if you ain't got good balance. But yeah, the bigger ones, the like say the what is it, the Ozark? There's an Ozark one at Walmart. It's in camouflage. It used to be a Sun Dolphin Boss.
Yeah.
It's a stand up version. They run $500-600, but now when you get into the really big ones, you're looking at a couple $1,000s.
Yeah. See, and that's where one of those you got to put in perspective of do you want a kayak for $1,000 and still be limited, very limited, or do you go to Bass Pro or Sportsman's and buy you a 2-man boat, 8-foot, 4-foot wide for $500 brand new? But then you got to get a trolling motor because you're not going to be paddling that 8-foot boat around. I'm sorry, it's
No,
not
yeah,
happening.
no.
Then if you don't have a truck, then you got to buy a trailer for it, and if you're going to get a trailer, you're going to go all out. So
And a battery for your trolling motor and all that.
Yeah. So you're looking at $1,000 and plus for a 2-man boat that you could take out 2 people on and have more room, or pay over $1,000 for a kayak and be manpowered. Still have, you'll have some room, but not like me. I'm a gearhead. I love taking too much than I actually need. That's my biggest deal is I take too much.
I normally do too. Not meaning to.
Not meaning to, and I overdo it sometimes. I don't know why. So I'm one of those types that's like, well, I'd rather have the more room to bring more junk, and it's okay. It's better to be prepared than not prepared. I've learned my lesson on that ordeal.
My thing about the kayak is, motors and batteries and all that will wear out, but as long as you're not wore out and you're able to move, you can get yourself back to shore. And it don't take too much effort, but the paddle kayaks, even my 10-foot one, you get nowhere fast.
Yeah.
And I really would like to have one of those pedal drives where like a bicycle, where you can pull yourself backwards and forwards. Because I tell you what, one of the biggest enemies of a kayaker is the wind. Just the slightest bit of wind will blow you completely out of where you want to be at, or blow you plumb up on the bank. And with one of those pedal ones, you can sit there and constantly keep yourself in that same spot if need to be.
Yeah. Like my little boat, the slightest little bit of wind, it moves. Because it's a polyurethane boat, so plastic. Neighbors' dogs are going ballistic. So, crazy catfishing. Got 1 or 2 more questions for you, and then we'll end it here at 9. I don't. Sometimes I run past 9, sometimes I don't, because some people like to go on after 9. I want to give them room to go on so I can watch them. If you wasn't doing YouTubing, what would you see yourself doing right now? If you didn't see yourself trying to do YouTube videos, or would you be like you was before you started doing YouTube videos, just fish for yourself, or doing something else?
I would just be fishing like normal. I mean, actually, Well, here recently, I've started a TikTok account, and I've gotten.
You ain't on there twerking, are you?
No, I ain't. Well, yeah, I got one video twerking. I'm serious, but I got like 20,000 people following me on there, just being silly and having fun. That's what it's all about on
That's
there.
what it's
But
all about, man. And there's a lot of hate on the technology in the world now these days. But
right.
if it's there, why not use it? That's what they designed it for.
And
And
I also use it for another platform to try to get my YouTube channel out there.
yeah, and you're not far away from 1,000 subscribers either. You're at
825 or 27.
I think it was 826 when I last looked at it. So,
Right.
Yeah, you're getting there. After you get 1,000 subscribers, you're eligible to be monetized. And I'm not gonna lie,
No, you gotta have 200,000 views or minutes of view time
yeah, I
now.
think it's what was it? I know Palmetto's in here. Palmetto's in here.
Or did they change it again?
I know before it had to be 1,000 subscribers and 1,000 watch hours. Yeah, see Palmetto. Palmetto said you gotta have at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, if I'm correct. Or
4,000. Oh, well, somehow I got 200,000 minutes of view. I'm like, how in the hell did somebody get 200,000 minutes of views?
yeah. I will say this: going live and having people watch, going live for an hour, it draws quite a few playbacks and quite a few views. It really does.
Right.
So, do you have any YouTubers you'd like to go fishing with that you watch?
Oh, I would love to go with kayak catfish. He's the one that got me into kayak fishing, and almost every video he's pulling in monster catfish. I mean, 20 plus pounds. Like you said, I forgot what's his name? Catfish dude.
Kayak Mike?
Steve Douglas.
Steve Douglas, okay.
Steve Douglas. Well, Palomino, I'd love to fish with you. I'd like to fish with you. And
Palmetto said he subbed to you because of my show tonight.
Well, thank you. I thought he was already subbed to me. I'm subbed to him.
Dude, this YouTube platform has been crazy lately. Like, people that I know I've been subbed to, I'm like, why ain't I got any notifications in the wall? And my sub won't be there. It will be gone. Or the notifications bell is not highlight. You know how it's got the little abbreviations around it? Yeah. Sometimes I go on there and they're not even clicked. Like, it says either none or just some. And I'm like, that's why I'm not getting it. Like, even the ones that has bell notifications. Last week somebody went live and it never told me. Never. And I was on YouTube when they went live and it never told me.
That's just like whenever I subbed to your channel, it didn't even give me the chance to hit the bell notification. So that's I don't know what's up with that.
No idea. Let's see. I'm going to make sure there ain't no other questions here for you tonight. I've had a fun time talking to you. I've had a great time. Yeah, I'd love to fish with you. I'd love to come out and fish. Do you ever watch Combat Carl any in your area?
Yeah, I have, and he's out there kicking it hard. I mean, he's putting it to him. But old Catfish Dave apparently can't stand him because he's
there's a hate relationship there between them two, and I don't even get involved with it no more. I don't know what happened, but I just know they cannot see eye to eye.
Catfish Dave's just jealous.
Both of them.
He can't stand for somebody to do better than him.
No, I'm not gonna lie. Both of them can fish. I will say that both of them men can fish. But you gotta look. They have the waters to do that in, though, too.
Yeah, and the time to go do it. That's the main thing. Location and time. The more time spent on the water, the more chances you are to catch that big one.
Agree. Location, you put in the time and the right bait, it's possible. Now, I've
Another
seen somebody.
YouTuber I'd like,
Go
another
ahead.
YouTuber I'd like to fish with is New School. You
New
ever
school.
watch him?
Yep.
Yeah. He does some really cool editing on his videos. His videos might not be 10 minutes long, but the editing that he does in it is off the chain, man.
Well, hello, Anna.
Actually,
Thanks for stopping
I actually met him. I was fishing at below the Wattsbar Dam on the Tennessee River at a boat ramp, and he happened to be pulling his boat out, and I heard him talking, and I turned and I said, "Who are you?"
in.
He's like, "You crazy cat fishing?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, New School." So, and I actually got a little bit of a cameo in him in one of my videos, so I thought that was pretty awesome.
Now, I know Chunky is the light show king, but I believe Palmetto is got is the thumbnail king. He does some really good killer thumbnails for his videos, and he does really good editing as well. So, I think Palmetto deserves an award on the Whiskers for thumbnail. He does really good thumbnails.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. Like Palmetto gave me the apps to use to make the thumbnails, and I'm still learning and still trying to get. It's hard to get that combination to get that in there. You gotta.
Right.
There's more to it, and it's really hard on the phone with an app. I got the iPhone 7s here, and I've got really big thumbs. My thumbs are half the size of my phone. So
and you gotta pull them apart and do all that
yeah,
crap.
it's crazy. So my next upgrade for anything I'm gonna keep my camera the same. It's a GoPro Hero 2018. Is I'm gonna buy a better computer so I can get the editing software I need for making decent thumbnails and something better to edit.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
I do everything off of my phone. Up until the end of this summer, I finally got a GoPro Hero Black 8 or 7. But everything prior to that was all done from my phone. Everything. And I even still use my phone for all my editing and everything.
Like I know if I downloaded the videos from my GoPro and uploaded it to my computer, then probably upload it to my cloud, I could probably edit them on my phone. But that's a lot of work. I really wish this phone had an SD card.
Right. I tell you something that'll save you a lot of time. Go Walmart. They sell them. I think they're like $5 or $6 and maybe $10. But get a card reader.
Yep.
All you got to do is take your memory card out of your GoPro, stick it in that, and stick it into your phone, and download it to your phone, and you're good to go.
I'm gonna have to look it up for my. Don't get me wrong. I like using my GoPro because let me tell y'all something right now. For the ones who are watching, we're almost done here. 1080p 60 frame rates per second is 1,000 times better with this than the iPhone 1080 frame rates per second. It's just it's like a world of difference. Like I know this does 4K. My phone would do 4K, but my GoPro 1080p is clearer than the 4K from the iPhone. This is an iPhone S7, so it's not the newest, not a Pro Max or nothing like that. I'm actually going to upgrade. Like this phone on live, it gets hot and shuts off. Like I could be in direct shade, no case on it whatsoever. It gets too hot and shuts off, and then there goes the live stream every time. Just about. It's okay at nighttime. It does okay at nighttime, but during the daylight, it's done. It's over. Let's see if we got any other questions here. Yeah, you guys, I lose subs too. It's a hit and miss. YouTube is doing that. You know, and there's people deleting their channels too. There's people like inactive channels. YouTube is removing them. If they've been inactive for more than a couple of years, YouTube's cutting them. You know, I can only imagine how much information YouTube servers have. You know, them poor servers, dude. I guarantee they're bigger than my whole house. Guaranteed.
They gotta be.
Oh yeah. But yeah, guys, I had a fun time tonight. Y'all make sure y'all check out Krazy Catfishing's channel. He has some great videos, good content. His link is in the description below of this video. So if you can't find it, the link is in my description. So now all you do is click it and take you straight to the channel. Yeah, I had a fun time. You got any questions for me or anything before we go?
No, not really. I mean, I had a great time, and I appreciate you taking your time out, and thank you for watching my content, and thank you for having me on here. I also, can I give out a real quick cheap promo for something else?
Yeah, you're fine.
Facebook, I also have a fishing group called the Fishing Lodge. It's a very family oriented group, and it's no profanity, no sexual content, no politics and everything. It's just a place for you to come share your pictures and ask questions and everything else. And I appreciate you coming and being part of the family.
The Fishing Lodge?
The Fishing Lodge.
Okay. And if y'all need to figure out what that is, just contact me and I'll send you a link to that too. I'll find it through Facebook and I'll copy it. And I'll put it in the description too, so y'all can find that too. You know, I'm always out to join new fishing groups. And like this past week, I joined a DIY jig making and lure making Facebook. And there's guys that are live all day making lures. I'm like, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Why are you ignoring my car? Jason, it depends on what time you called, buddy. I went and got pizza earlier and I didn't have my phone with me. So it could have been it. Or it could be the fact that it's dead. So one of those two. You know, I like doing everything on a computer if I can. I'm a computer person. I love my computer. It's just, you know, you take its big old keyboard. It's easier to, you know, less chance of misspelling. So, I mean, I'm not professional or nothing, but, you know. But all right, guys, we're going to end this here tonight. Y'all be sure to check out his channel. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later. Bye, y'all.
Peace.